arty people. So my sister got married this summer and my gift to her was to offer to make her wedding cards into a book. I did this with my wedding cards. This is that here. And I think it's a really nice way to keep all the cards together, and it makes them really easy to look through rather than just keeping them in a box that never gets looked at. I have a blog post about how I made my book, which I'll link below, and I'll take you through making my sister's book now. On with the making! Here are all of the wedding cards. So the first thing I need to do is sort them by size and find the biggest card and the smallest card. So something my sister did was make a guest guide because she's friends with so many different people from all different areas of her life. So she's got obviously family, then she's got uni friends, school friends, work friends, and then random friends that she's picked up along the way. So she decided to make a guide so that people knew who everyone was. This one was made by a 2-year-old. Okay, so I think that is the smallest card. And I think that one is the biggest one. So next I'm taking the shortest card and I'm going to make 5 holes down the middle, and this will be the template to make the holes for all the other cards. And the holes will be where I stitch all the cards together. So I'm going to start by finding the center of the card. That will be the middle hole. And then I'll equally space the other holes. So I'm going for 3 centimeters apart. Then to make the holes, I'm going to use this tool, which was sold as a pokey tool. That's all it was called. So I'm going to put this rubber under the card so that I don't go through to my table. And make the holes. So then this card will be the template for all the other cards, so I don't have to measure them out each time. So I'll just take the next card, and I'm just going to roughly put it in the center. I could measure it, but that will take a lot longer, and it won't be that obvious if it's slightly off center. So I think that's right. And then I push through the template, through to the new card, and make the holes. There we go. So now I need to do this for all the cards. So I'm going to put a podcast on and get started.
Cheeseburger spring rolls from Disney World, please. Oh, stunning. How is that the first thing you're on?
So this card references the fact that my sister had a dinosaur flower girl. She also walked down the aisle to the Jurassic Park theme music. Here I have 2 pieces of folded paper. I put the same 5 holes down the middle. I've cut them to be a little bit wider than the widest card and a bit taller than the tallest card. These will go at the front and back of the book and be used to attach the cards to the outside cover. I have my 2 piles of big and small cards, and I'm now going to order them ready for the book. As I have more small cards than big ones, I'm going to arrange them in a pattern of 2 small cards to 1 big one. Now I have my stack of cards, I need to bind them together. The binding technique that I'm going to use I got from this YouTube video by C Lemon. I highly recommend watching that if you want to learn how to do this, because I'm not the best at explaining how to do things, but she does a really good job of talking you through her process. So I have a length of cotton that I've doubled over, about an arm span's worth, which might be too much to work with, but we'll see. And then it's got a knot at the end. I'm going to take my first page, which is one of the paper pieces I put at the end. What I need to do first is take my needle and put it through the first hole. Then from the inside, I'm going to push the needle through the second hole. Then I'm going to go through the next hole. And out the next hole. And finally, through the next hole. Okay, so now I have stitches on the outside and stitches on the inside. And so now I'm going to go back the other way. Hopefully you can see this okay. I know white on white isn't ideal. When you get to the hole with the knot, you want to go through to the inside and then tie a knot. Again, watch the video that I'll link below as it shows this much more clearly. So you make a knot, and put the needle through that hole pulling the knot with it. So now you're ready to attach the first card. So you take the needle and thread it through the first hole of the card. Then you come out of the second hole. So next, in order to attach them, you take your needle under this piece of thread and up under this piece. Then you're going to go back in the hole you came out of. Then you move along and push the needle out of the next hole. And again, go under and around the previous thread. And then the fourth hole. And out the final hole. Okay, so this is where you go underneath that stitch there. But instead of returning into the same hole, you'll go into the hole of the next card. Then you'll go all the way along again and keep adding more cards. So now it's time to put the podcast back on and keep going. One of my sister's friends has a stamp of her own face. That's pretty cool. Now that the inside of the book is done, it's time to make the cover. Whilst binding the cards is the most time-consuming part of this process, I find making the cover to be the fiddliest. I've cut a piece of fabric, which looks like this. I'm using a thicker piece of fabric with a nice pattern. It being thicker means that it will add a bit more stability to the cover. Then I've cut 3 pieces of mount board, one for the front, the back and the spine. And now I need to glue them to the fabric. I'm using regular PVA glue and I'm going to start with the spine. I'm applying a decent amount of glue. If you were using a thinner fabric, you'd want to be more careful about this so the glue doesn't seep through. Then I'm going to trim the edges of the fabric a little bit. And cut the corners off. Now I need to glue the edges of the fabric to the board. So I'm applying more glue and then folding the fabric over and pulling it tightly around the board. And firmly pressing it down. I've done the top and bottom, so now I'm doing the sides, which is a bit more tricky as now I have to deal with the corners. I'll tidy those up a bit later. Now I'm going to glue a piece of paper to the inside of the spine, just to cover the edges of the fabric. While that dries, I'm going to see to the corners. I'm just trying to sew them closed a bit more. It's a bit tricky to get the needle through as the fabric is so thick where it's folded over and there's a lot of dried glue under there. I only need to sew a little way down as the rest will be covered by paper. So I've done all of the corners and the paper is dry, so I'm just going to check it bends okay. Okay, now it's the important part. Time to stick the cards in the cover. So I'm going to line up those front and back paper pages with the edge of the paper I just stuck to the spine. And make sure they're square with the rest of the cover. Okay, I'm happy with that, so time to glue. I'm going to put a scrap piece of paper under the page to protect the cards from the glue. Time to stick it down. Just making sure it's in the right place. And then I can gently press it down. So now I just need to do the other side, just like that. So the book is pretty much finished now, but there's just a few more things I want to add. I've added a ribbon to keep the book together, which I've sewn along the spine. Then on the inside, I was able to add a few cards that were the wrong format to be sewn in. and this one at the back, which is stuck to the paper page I added. And behind that I've added an envelope, which my sister can use to keep any other wedding bits, like her save the dates or place settings. So that's it. The binding technique allows all the cards to be flicked through really easily, and they're all neatly contained in the cover. So here is the finished book. I'm really pleased with how it turned out, and I hope my sister and her new husband really like it too. Thanks for watching. Bye!